Everything started here, and it would all end here. Even if the 7 billion people on Earth had not been placed in the same dream at the same moment, they'd still look up the moon together. Since the birth of civilization, the tranquility of this celestial body had projected a noble and extraordinary image into the hearts of the people. But in all fairness, it was a form of aloof beauty created by just the right distance. Now, the throne forged by the sacrifice of the ages sat in the dark sky above this wasteland, only it no longer ruled over everything. It was just a manifestation of the usurper's divinity. All right. The man's tone remained the same after hearing everything. That was the most unusual. Upon noticing this, the AI started a scan to determine if it missed something earlier. Otherwise, why would the man remain so indifferent after hearing about the Bible universe history and Dr. May's dying wish? The man was free of his ignorance, but his reaction made no sense. Don't you have anything else to say? No. Project Stigma will bring nothing but harm to you. Get away while you can. What about you? Leave the proper world. It's the only way you'll have a future. The man could only repeat the same old platitudes in his usual tone. The promises of the past held so many memories that he didn't know where to start. But even so, he did not wish to be too insincere to this friend of his whom he'd killed with his own hands. Anyway, thank you for telling me everything. I don't understand. Dr. May said you were a lonely boy. But as I see it, you're further from the definition of human than I am. It is not difficult for me to accept a conclusion. Since May thought the future Herschers would be able to carry out the future of mankind on their shoulders, I am willing to do my best and give them far more than half a day. But all you've done is watch with indifference. In a familiar yet unknown world, a long and hopeless struggle against something beyond reach. That's too cruel and shouldn't be shouldered by a group of young people. Are you referring to them or us? Obviously, the man was never one to ridicule others with words. But his question did put off Prometheus from speaking more. Indeed, even if those young girls were in a battle that would take thousands of years to make a difference, it was nothing special or worth mentioning. The man had experienced the same. There is nothing new under the sun. But the cruelest part isn't in the past. Rather, it's all that's yet to come. She had remained silent since she arrived, but she finally spoke. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't silent on purpose. Her gaze drifted to Prometheus before she casually looked away. I just wish she could realize it herself, just like right now. It's essential to humanity, of course, but it is also sorely needed by the plan you've entrusted to me. The man offered no response, but he'd realized that she was here for more than telling him about the past. We may not have a solid evidence, but even if this plan fully codifies space, it's not a permanent solution, right? Huh. Me from the proper world, it is a guess born from her destiny. Based on the cocoon of finality's nature, it would never choose someone to become the herrscher of finality of its own accord. It was the fear of herrschers born in random ways that made the people of the past design the will of Honkai in the New Age. Now the will of Honkai is gone, and the way you got hold of power of finality from the cocoon was not much different from stealing. So, the artificial life paused for a moment. Regardless, she had just started trying to analyze herself as humans do. She may not be able to detect the man's current desire, but she found it difficult to understand. So, Project Stigma may never truly succeed. As someone who can control the power of finality with your own will and on your own terms, you must shoulder it forever and keep it from failing. As it should be. Yes, I understand. It's the only right way for you. She gazed at the man who returned to the throne in silence and sighed in sympathy. In his journey of 50,000 years, he had fulfilled every one of his promises. He defeated Honkai with the body of a man, and as a sinner, he shouldered the ideal of deliverance one last time. And a man like this, do you seek death too? Or perhaps while you do not have such a wish, you are just like how I used to be, when faced with the world you see now. Death is the only mercy. She sacrificed everything for the future of mankind. But I haven't. Seems like we've come to the right place, Kevin. Now I return the name Hare to the world serpent, and I'm willing to be held accountable for killing you. Do you think you can succeed? Of course not. I only spoke about being held accountable. But the power you possess, it is equivalent to the despair you've experienced. Someone is trying to kill me. Their chances may be minuscule, but if they do persist, they may still have a chance. When that time comes, I'll be defeated despite giving it my all. I hope you will embrace these feelings and feel a little better. That won't be necessary. Of course, you're not wrong. Rather than eradicating Honkai, all I did was imprison it. But I will ensure that it stays that way until the death of the planet. Even if you must live alone forever in this world that is utterly empty to you. And due to the authority of finality, you're practically doomed to never experience what your comrade did and find a new purpose in life. I have no other choice. As for a new purpose of life, I don't need it. Indeed, even without something like that, you still got this far, didn't you? It's time for us to go, number 17. Now? Many things beyond her understanding had occurred here and now, yet she intended to leave immediately upon revealing her desire to kill. As a being born from cold, she still finds it quite difficult to use her own words and explain how humans broke promises. Yes, even I find it hard to believe, but that's what things have turned out to be. You and I, we may not be humans yet, but we have their freedom. We can live and die on our own terms. Fighting one's fate used to be a human privilege, but he has become someone who knew their own fate, yet still devoted themselves to it. As always, she became unresponsive once more. Now, stop trying to define him. If a title is necessary, I think hero may be the only choice. I am not qualified to challenge such a hero. The mechanical girl provided no response. As far as she was concerned, it would take a long time to assimilate the hearts of these ambiguous yet extremely determined people. After a short delay, she followed Miss Lin's signal and walked to the edge of the huge throne. Through the ability to travel freely between the Sigma space and reality, an open door emerged, one connected to the upcoming journey for the two humans. But before that, number 17?
17号.
She watched with surprise as Prometheus abruptly turned around back to the man. She reached out her hand and slapped the godlike being with her pitiable strength. Even if he wasn't a real god, it was an action too bold for an AI and absolutely contrary to reason. And naturally, in vain. You should shed at least one tear for her. This is for the anger I feel as her friend. She knew that she'd never get an answer. Even if the man had once woken up crying late at night, it would be from too long ago. His sorrow had been tempered by time and was no longer capable of being shown like a normal person would. She was no fool and was aware of everything. But that was also why the slap was necessary. After long silence, Prometheus finally took back her hand. She made a final display of disappointment by turning her back on him quietly. The man remained silent and simply watched as both visitors leave. For someone of his power, he was being quite lenient today. But it was a fact. The man was no king or god. He was Kevin. A long time passed before footsteps were heard again. Given the nature of this place, there might be too many guests here today. Every step she took was done with care, but she still made some unexpected noise when arriving in front of Kevin. She accidentally stepped on some spikes of ice when she got near Kevin. Perhaps it was impossible for anyone to guess what they were, but it seemed like they just fell onto the ground not long ago. It brought back memories of the time she performed with tempered glass known as Rupert's Tears for the children. Raven.
毒药.
It seems you're still unaware. Well, such trivial things are beyond you. Great Serpent has expelled me from the World Serpent. It's alright. The World Serpent will be meaningless once this is all over. I understand, but when betrayal occurs right before your eyes, I cannot assume that I can just leave without saying anything. It was my own decision. I plan to stay with the children in New Atra until they can return to Earth. We may not be colleagues anymore, but because it's for the children, Hare still helped me to get to the moon. She stopped there. In her opinion, such behavior is self-evident for someone so fickle. I see.
原来如此.
What you believe in is completely different from what it used to be. Feel free to hedge your bet. You know I won't stop you. But sire, if I had truly believed in something, then I wouldn't be where I am now. I'm just setting an example for the children. Birds fly because they want to fly. It's the destiny they carved for themselves. At the very least, they should see their teacher practicing what they preach. But you know it isn't the truth. Indeed, there's no reason why birds fly. It's merely because they're born that way. But the naked truth is not what we should leave behind for the future generation. Rather, our responsibility is to explain the dream of this truth. Even if it's all fiction, it has power of its own. I hope so too. That's what I told you then, right? Yeah. She never imagined the man would remember every word from their previous conversation. But if she could somehow find out the answer to her question about flying was something the man has sought for thousands of years, her surprise would be even more dramatic. You can take them anywhere you want. No one will stop you again. But, Raven, we mentioned two possibilities, and neither of them are realized yet. He started to walk with a distant expression. It seemed he planned to go for a short trip. At this point, the former World Serpent agent finally came to understand why their sire chose to sit here. Why he stayed away from all inhabited planets. This is... The shadow cast by the man at this moment appeared corporeal, and the bizarre phenomena within it would definitely bring shock to any first-time witness. Finality. Even if this abstract concept to most did somehow appear before people, it was still hardly understood. As for the human species, what could be seen but couldn't be understood was the most terrifying. Raven, it's easy to forget something when we talk about flying. Icarus once soared into the sky too. The sun was right within his reach. Forgive me, I must insist on declining. Don't worry, just come give it a try. They say when in Rome, do as the Romans do. We're almost there. Yeah, Sushang-sama is flying so... It's so exciting. Actually, we've arrived, Sushang-sama. We've been going around in circles since you urged me to fly with the Gaussman the last time. Upon being reminded, the young girl finally stopped flying. And for her companion, she placed the last straw which led to air sickness. Alright, we're here, Susanna. Susanna? Leave her to me, Sushang-sama. In striking contrast to the quaint mountain houses, the Shixo transport ship was hovering in mid-air near the landing point. And Rita Roseways awaited the arrival of her companions with her usual grace. It's alright. There are comprehensive medical facilities on the Hestia, and all she needs is some rest. So this is... It's nothing. Susanna just overestimated her ability to adapt. It was her habitual elegance and her wish to teach her team member a lesson that prevented her to lecture the better. Since Durandal and Teresa started anchoring the world, reclaiming lost ground had become quite meaningful. The Valkyries had been constantly working on liberating the land. And in charge of this area was the reasonable yet slightly odd Jigsaw Squad. Anyway, let's go on with our mission. She'll get well very soon. How about I fly her back first? It won't take too long anyway. Please spare her the trouble. Also, according to our initial Reckon intel, our mission isn't very difficult. It can be done by the time I get back. Indeed, traveling in a ship is much more comfortable for a B-rank Valkyrie too. Oh, alright. Anyway, she seemed to have finally realized her mistake and started to awkwardly change the topic. This really is Mount Taishan, huh? Alright, let's go. So, our mission is just to annihilate all the monsters in the vicinity? Basically, yes, but to be exact. Annihilating these monsters that abate by Project Sigma's will and constantly codify space will only delay the codification process, but it cannot truly reclaim this place. As for the key to resolving the problem, it's actually Sushan-sama's aptitude as a Sigma awakened. Me? Yes, through your ability to expand space within Project Sigma, we can impair the codification of those monsters when we kill them, so Cosmic Dragonaut can locate and anchor itself to this place with ease. Once we've completed that step, Project Sigma will be powerless in these lands. Oh, is this some kind of description I've always seen in Valkyrie reports? Industrialization or automation? It isn't far from the truth, though. Anyway, it seems our job is no different from when we were in the Deep or St. Freya. So let's start with what's in front of us. So St. Freya would have ended up just like this if we hadn't acted fast. No, or rather, Kiana and the others saved St. Freya from a situation far worse than this. Anyway, are Kiana and the others really alright? Please put your trust in them. They've gone through far worse. What about Great Master? Huh, I don't need to worry about her. Yes, and Sila is helping her too. It doesn't look like anything has changed here. My first time using the Edge of Taishan on Mount Taishan is actually to annihilate these things. How unexpected! That's it? Our work in this area is indeed near completion. But I'm afraid we still need a little more time to finish expanding the space to our advantage. Furthermore, we have more important matters to confirm. More important matters? So it is true. Is anything wrong? Mount Taishan has always been thinly populated, so it's still too early to draw a conclusion. Hey, don't leave me hanging. Sorry, to put it simply, in the previous reclaiming operation, Rita explained to Li Sushan. Such a thing happened? It is not confirmed yet. That is why we should continue the mission, Sushan-sama.